Today is my day two of sharing some of the cool experiences that I had, whether it be cosmic or nature, or maybe just realizations that I have. Either way, um, every day from now on, or actually from yesterday, I will be coming up here sharing one thing that is meaningful to me in hopes that it serves as a mirror or reflection for you in some way, shape, or form. And they may sound weird. You may have a lot of questions. You may even have doubts like, is this even real? Like, how do you know you're not making it up? You know? I acknowledge you for your questions because even me, who's experiencing all of these, are still asking those questions every day. Like, am I making this shit up? Is this even real? I know. And I'm learning and practicing to trust it as it comes to me because I honestly believe that we all have the ability to have conversation with the cosmic, with nature, with the beings around us at a different dimension, different frequency. We all have, it's innate within us. It's just really about releasing and clearing all those programmings or emotional baggage that's making us kind of feel chaotic, not being able to hear us clearly, out of the way as much as possible. And we'll be able to hear the conversation that we always have within ourselves, whether it be with God, with our own guides, with the cosmic beings, with your angels or your loved ones. Like it's here, like it's always here. And part of the reason why I'm also learning and practicing to trust it is because I've just learned and watched so many different videos and read so many different stories and heard so many different stories that people who are doing this kind of work in the beginning, they feel the same way as me. Like, am I making this up? And as I speak about this, I highly, highly recommend to check out a book or maybe listen to it, an audiobook called Conversation with God. Highly, highly recommended. There are a lot of conversations that's inside this book. Really, at least for me, I don't know what kind of experience you're going to have for you. But for me, it really unlocked a lot of things for me. It's almost like we always have that truth and wisdom, universal truth within us. But until somebody voice it out for us, it's like, oh, it's like a light bulb or something opens. And even though your human mind doesn't fully and completely understand everything just yet, and I don't think our human mind will ever be able to fully understand exactly how the universe or multiverse or how everything actually works because it's not the human's brain job. Internally, the highest consciousness that we all already are already knows all that is. It already does. And our purpose as being a human being is to forget that we are already all that is. We already know all that is so that we can play this game of life and to remember who we all are again. And I really have those deep experience and awareness and understanding, especially this past year. So anyways, I highly recommend checking out that book. Throughout the days of me sharing my experiences, you'll hear me talk a lot about Matthias de Stefano. He's on Gaia. He's the guy who remembers all of his past lives. And he has a lot of wisdom knowledge of how the Egyptian, the Atlantis, how the universe was created and everything. So I've been studying him. You will hear me talk a lot about Bashar and the things that I heard and learned from the conversation with God. So you will hear me talk a lot about that. But today, mainly, the one thing I do want to share is my conversation with trees. As you can see in the back, I'm actually in Washington right now. We're literally surrounded by trees. Let me see if I can show you with my webcam. You see, like we're literally surrounded by trees. And couple weeks ago, I was trying to put Nyla down to sleep, or actually for a nap. While I was trying to put Nyla down for a nap, I was like massaging her feet. Yeah, that's kind of the routine to help her fall asleep. And I was looking out the window. There was multiple trees outside of the window. And I was just all of a sudden thinking, oh, by the way, another guy that I do follow and learn from is Kyle Cease. Highly recommend to check him out too. Love him, love this guy. And I remember I was watching one of his short videos. Kyle Cease was hiking and he was talking about as he was hiking, he was learning from a lot. He was learning a lot from nature that he notices the flowers will blossom, whether or not people see them. And he was basically saying that look at these flowers, they will blossom. Doesn't matter if they're being seen or not, they will be happy no matter if they're being seen or not. They are who they are, whether they are being seen or not. And I thought that was a beautiful message that I needed to hear. And I was trying to put Nyla to nap. I was looking out the window and I thought, nature has a lot to teach us. I wonder if they have something to tell me. And as soon as I had that thought, I literally started having conversation with the trees. And I'm going to be sharing, I documented it. I'm going to be sharing with you what I got out of those conversation. It's gonna look like and sound like I'm reading because I am. Because I'm experiencing so many of these experiences. I've noticed if I don't document them, it gets me really excited. I learn a lot of things, but I don't consciously remember all of it. So here it goes. This is my conversation with trees. First, they said, you're overthinking too much. Relax. Be here. And I asked, aren't you guys bored being stuck in one place and not being able to go anywhere for such a long time? And I feel like the trees were communicating with me telepathically. So it was more of a combination of feelings and images, sometimes thought. So it could be a thought that came to me that reminded me of a certain feeling. So I may have my own interpretation of the images and the feelings and the thought they gave to me. But here it goes. I felt like they were saying to me, many of us have been here for hundreds of years, and we don't find it to be boring here at all. We actually find it to be very interesting to see and feel the shift within ourselves in many different ways. Even though we're not going anywhere, but we're actually very different every day. We're also growing every day. And up to this point, I feel like the feeling they gave me was even though they're physically here and not moving anywhere, they gave me an image and the feeling that internally they're constantly feeling the light and the changes and the shift within themselves. Yes, inside the tree. And then I asked, how are they still growing when they already look so grown? They said they're growing every day internally. Every day they feel the shift and differences in their own being. And they said to me that a lot of us human beings may feel like growing means that you're at a different place in your life, but it's not necessarily true. It's not necessarily true that you're in a different place externally in your life, but more of you're in a very different place internally in your life. And therefore, you see life differently in your external world. This is the message from the trees, by the way. And they said, it's the same thing with us. There's no outside. We're constantly feeling and experiencing ourselves internally. We're constantly feeling the change and shift internally within ourselves all the time. We can feel the changes in the collective. We can feel the difference in people who are walking by. We can feel the difference in the world. We can even feel the plants from the other side of the globe. We can feel a lot and we communicate a lot and we help each other a lot. So I'm going to stop right here and we'll continue after. I'm going to just kind of put in my own feelings of when they were telling me all that, it really feels like, because in my mind, I'm like, trees must live a very boring life. because they're not like human beings where they get to walk around and eat food and experience and or chit chat with other communities and blah blah. But what they're telling me, what I was feeling is that no, they're continuously experiencing and feeling the shift that's happening collectively, globally. The people that are walking by, the people that they feel around the radius, they didn't tell me how far or how near, but it they really gave me the feeling they're feeling it all. They're feeling it from the animals, from the nature, from everything that's happening in our world. Okay. And this is the really, really cool part. Um, by the way, before I start to communicate with trees, I actually don't know much about tree at all, actually. All I knew was I know trees have feelings because there's scientific studies that says if you do something to the trees, they could scream, they could hurt. That's all I know about the tree. I didn't know anything else, but I did Google afterwards about what they said and I go, oh my gosh, there's some validity here. Anyways, I'm gonna continue on. They said they could communicate with each other a lot. They said the trees that couldn't make it, they will spread the message to the masses of us to help us learn the knowledge to become stronger and to bear the storm. What I felt was almost like there's some smaller trees, maybe they're weaker. The feeling that I was getting that said there's a lot of trees out here. There are some trees that are smaller and they can't bear whether it be diseases or the storm that's coming. Before they die, they will pass out information that they learn as that individual tree who's are about to who can't make it anymore. Before it passes away, it will pass out the information to the trees, to go, this is what I've experienced, this is what I've learned. The other trees receive those information, and these informations help other trees to become stronger, to bear the storm better, or to go, okay, I received this information. Now it's almost like, I don't know for sure what it felt like. It's almost like, oh, I received this kind of DNA kind of knowledge, and let me have this information in my body. So when, let's say, this disease come, I can fight it better. That's the feeling that I get. And so they said, when we collectively know or get the feeling that we all can't make it, we all come together to be at peace with one another, to die or transition together. They told me this message because I asked them, I said, okay, cool. But what about fires? What about when fire comes? Um, it's you always hear there's huge fire going around the forest, burns down a lot of trees. So I asked them, what happens then? What happens when there's a big fire burning you guys down? And this is the part where I feel like it was so powerful and so loving and something that we all need to learn and can learn from nature. The feeling and the image that they show me was that when there's something huge like that happening, let's say fire, I saw an image of, underneath the land, it's their roots, right? But it almost feels like all the roots, imagine all the roots are like their hands and they hold each other's hands together. They come together as one. They hold each other's hands as one. They go, we're facing this catastrophe together. We're leaving nobody behind. We are coming together as one. We are dying together. No one is being left behind. And because the feeling that I was getting from those images, those vision, and those feelings that they were communicating with me telepathically almost feels like when we can't face it alone, when it's scary to face it alone, we are stronger as one and we feel a lot more at peace when we are one with each other. And I literally just felt the love, the power, the strength when they were showing me when they come together as one. It was beautiful. And the reason why I want to start my second day of sharing with this piece of information, because I really feel it's so, so, so important. It's so, so, so needed that we all come together as one because we are one, but we're in the illusion that we're separated. We are being divided by fear. We're being divided by the illusion of fear, of lack, of needing to fight for something, needing to survive. And when we're always in the surviving mode, it's really hard to see and recognize how much we are being supported, how much we are loved, how much we can love and give each other, how much we can receive from one another. And I think this message is so important because just so happened before I started communicating with those trees that day, um, a few nights prior to that, I was watching the movie Dumb Money with Jonathan. I think it was on Netflix. And if you haven't watched it, I mean, I always learn things from TV shows and movies that I watch. I always get messages that I need whenever I watch certain things. I would say always, 80% of the time. And through the movie Dumb Money, it's about the GameStop scenario that happened around like COVID time. And what I learned out of that movie was that when we all come together, the elite, the bigger corporates, the bigger game players have no more power over us. We are way more powerful than the big players, the 1%. We're way more powerful when we come together. But I also believe because of the 1%, they know how powerful we all can be. They're continuously sending distraction, whether through medias, news, fears, wars, propagandas, or COVID, or games, sports to distract us from really recognizing, learning, being, connecting with our truths, with who we are. They know that if we're now being connected with our truth, with who we are, we then become connected with one another. And when we become connected and united with one another, they're game over. It's game over for them. And I want to start this message here today because trees, nature is so powerful. I remember Matthias de Stefano talks about if we want to learn about us, about humans, about how we work, learn from nature. Just look at nature and we'll be able to learn everything about who we are. And I think it's so true. And just the feeling that the trees gave me that when they come together, even they can't fight, they can't overcome the fire. It's literally just happening for them. But the feeling of them coming together was love. And it was so powerful that fire is nothing anymore. That something they can't fight is nothing anymore. It's that powerful. It's that beautiful. And that is us. That is all of us. That is who we are. And we have forgotten. And the trees have reminded us that we can pass out information. Whatever you know in your own life story is pieces of information that can be passed down to other trees or human beings that can be beneficial from you, from your stories, from your aspect of you, from your perspective, from the things that you have learned. And I think this is also the point of view that I am here sharing now. Before I work through the layers of shame, which I am going to be sharing that in my podcast. I'm going to be posting about it tomorrow. So if you want to watch it, my whole process of me clearing the huge layer of shame, I highly recommend to check it out. Before I work through that huge layer of shame, I had always held myself back from the point of view of fear, of very selfish perspective of, oh, no one's gonna watch it. Who am I? Nobody cares. I don't know. It's all about me, 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 all the fear about me, me, me. Now that shame has been cleared, and that fear that has been operating from that shame of like, oh, it's on me, me, me. Nobody's gonna care. No one's gonna really watch. What? Who am I? What I'm gonna say? Like, is it even real? Blah blah. All that fear was operating from that layer of shame. Now that's like being cleared away. Because it's been cleared away, I feel myself from a different, complete different perspective. Now it's like, wow, there's no more shame. So it's quiet. All that's left, it's what's within me. Is the truth, is pieces of information and wisdom, knowledge that I've experienced and learned. And it feels so like I'm trapped when I am withholding these information and not doing anything with it. And the other day, I was talking to a friend, and that was before I made the decision to come up here every day. I was talking to my friend, and I was sharing a lot of experiences that I had, and I was so happy sharing all that. And that same night, I was trying to dive deeper to understand what this happiness is about. And at first, I thought, is it because I'm happy? Is it because I was being heard? I was being seen? And it's none of that. I was really happy because these informations are being passed down to someone that can benefit from it. And that reminded me so much of the information that the trees told me, that they were passing out those information to help other trees to become stronger, to be able to bear the weather better, to fight the diseases or whatever, to deal with the bugs that they didn't want to deal with. And I realized, wow, that is true happiness. It's like almost like I have a lot. Just imagine as somebody who has a lot of money. They don't need that much money to survive. Like they just need a big chunk of money to live comfortably. The rest, what are they gonna do? They will want to help other people. It just feels better that way. Same thing with all the wisdom and knowledge and experience that I've gained. I just want to share and pass it out, and whoever wants to receive it, receive it. If not, that's totally cool. And so I want to share this piece of information, and I'm going to continue on with what the trees told me. I'm almost done here. They say we are one. We're all one, even though we may seem separated, but we're truly all one. So they said, don't overthink everything. Growth is inevitable and imminent. It's always happening all the time. It's a matter of feeling aware of it. And we're feeling and being aware of it all the time. So the change is always here in this very moment, all the time. Feel the change and be the change and express the change or experience the change. And I think they were telling me to stop overthinking because I'm here and I feel like I need to be somewhere else. And I'm like, what else can I do to go somewhere else? What else can I do to be at another place in my life? And they were reminding me change is happening all the time. You're growing and evolving all the time. It's about being aware of those changes and the shift within you, that you realize that you are already different. You're already at a different place in your life. So that's the message for today. That's the piece of information that I wanted to share with you today. Tune in with yourself. Tune in. And at first, when you first tune in with yourself, it may not feel like the rainbow and unicorn wisdom from the cosmic. It may feel like chaotic, a lot of negative emotions and thoughts. Let it be. Allow it to come out. Just imagine a faucet in a very, very old, dirty house. It hasn't been turned on for a while. And you finally turn on the faucet and you will see all the dirty water coming out. After 2, 3, 10 minutes, you let the dirty water come out. The water becomes clear. That is the process. You gotta let the dirty thoughts, not dirty thoughts, but negative, you know what I mean, the negative thoughts come out first. I meant to say dirty water, but that represents negative thoughts. I didn't mean to say dirty thoughts. You know what I mean. Anyways, let the negative thoughts come out. Then the clean, clearer thoughts will appear because that's who you are. You will be in tune with it. And once you're in tune with it, watch how the magic appears for you. Watch how the wisdom, inner divine wisdom within you want to communicate. Maybe they will be like, oh my gosh, you're finally here. We've been wanting to talk to you. Here, bitty ba boom. And there's so much messages, so much beauty, so much love that you have within yourself that wants to share with you. And maybe by you experiencing it, you'll want to express it like I am. Maybe I'm doing it with video. Maybe you'll start with friends, or maybe not. Maybe you will just vibrate it through your presence when you go out into the world. Either way, it's all perfect. And I love you. Sending you so much love. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Be with nature, be with you, learn from nature, learn from you.